Hello and welcome. Okay, it is now the semi-final of this very, very keenly watched and closely fought Delhi election. This is the time now for the exit polls, which should be coming out at any point. And here in NDTV, we'll be doing a poll of polls, which will give you some sense of how Delhi may have voted. I say may because remember, these are exit polls. And we still have to wait for Tuesday for the big one. But we should be drawing closer to understand what exactly has worked in Delhi. Has Arvind Kejriwal's makeover as the kind of Vikas Purush given him another term? Or has the BJP's last-minute blitz, spearheaded by Amit Shah and Narendra Modi, break their 20-year jinx in Delhi? We'll have some clues to that in the next hour or perhaps even sooner. But at the moment, what everyone is looking closely at is the turnout. And the turnout at the moment is suggesting that there's been a drop from last time. So at the moment at 5 p.m., it's now 6 o'clock. Polls have just about closed, but at 5 o'clock, for which we have the last time for which we have data, it is at 54%. And it was 63.5% last time, 54% now. So it's almost a 10 percentage point drop from last time. Now remember, last time in 2015, that was the AAP sweep, the voter turnout was 67%, which was a record for Delhi. It does appear it's going to be lower than that, but how much lower isn't exactly clear.
I would say, Srinivasan, that the turnout is surprising, but I think we have to also see it in the context of the atmosphere in which this election has been fought. It's been a nasty, toxic election campaign, let's face it. We've had phrases like Goli Maro, etc. So it could be that this kind of polarization is putting voters off and they're keeping away.
That could
be that, but could also be that this is a more normal election. You know, last time in 2015, there was a whole different mahal. The AAP was a novelty. There was an atmosphere of voluntarism, of citizens' participation, of citizens.
So this may have normalized
This may have normalized the election. Also, I believe that there's a gap, there's a lag in reportage of the turnout.
Of course, yes, and there's always a late surge, but I'm not sure if it will be enough to actually catch up with last time. Vijay Jolly, could it be that the BJP's Goli-Gali politics have put people off?
Well, Basu, I would rather say every election is a battle of words and a battle of wits. But the high expectation criteria which Arvind Kejriwal with his jhoot ka issues, what he had not done at the grassroots level, but what he had tried to project to the people that during the last 7 years, I had done this, I had done that. I would have expected 70% of the total turnout if going by the dictum of the Aam Aadmi Party.
So you're saying, in short, you're saying that the lower turnout is helping you, the BJP.
Certainly. It is
that's a surprising argument. Normally, high turnouts
and the determination of the Aam Aadmi Party out of this electorate's verdict today.
Rohit Tiwari.
Look, I'm not sure whether this Goli Maro, etc. has put people off because BJP polarizes almost every election. Of course, this one has been far more vicious than a lot of other elections have been. So I wouldn't attribute it to that. But as Sagarika rightly pointed out, in 2013 December as well as the 2015 elections, there was an incentive to go out and vote because there was the Aam Aadmi Party, which had just been formed. There was an excitement around it. People wanted to go and vote it to power. Right. That has now worn out, and perhaps there is a certain degree of boredom or indifference towards the election.
Gilles, is there any data which tells you how to read low, high turnout? And who it benefits? Does it benefit the incumbent? Does it benefit the challenger?
So there's no data as such that help us to shed light on this particular election.
I was hoping you wouldn't say that, but you have. So anyway.
Electoral honesty commands that I do say that. But if you look at the campaign and how it was run and who were the segments of the population targeted in those campaigns, neither campaign actually targeted the electorate at large or the large floating electorate that you find among middle classes across Delhi. You had an AAP campaign targeting poorer voters, those who benefited from its reforms, from its policies in health, the subsidies, the education.
Right, Bijli Pani and so on.
Bijli Pani and so on. You had a BJP talking to its base and trying to keep its base together and mobilize and galvanize it. But you still have a lot of people in between who may not have been, targeted. And you still have a residual amount of Congress supporters who, knowing that the Congress was not in play, may
have sat at home.
Didn't have a lot of incentives to actually come out.
Rahul, are you worried about the lower turnout?
No, not at all. But just before that, Vasu, just want to clarify, I've not been a member of the party, but I've been a member of the government for the last 5 years now.
Okay. But it's fair to call you a supporter.
Surely, absolutely.
Yes.
I wear my heart on my sleeves and so everybody knows who I support.
Right.
Having said that, Vasu, I think it's a pro-incumbency kind of a factor. In a pro-incumbency, people usually, it's an anti-incumbency where people come out in huge numbers. So I don't see there's a worry.
I'm not sure if it's, as Gilles said, I don't think there's conclusive evidence of either way.
But I think the worrying factor could be more on the aspect, first of all, I don't think these are really data which actually one can go by. We'll have to wait for another hour and a half.
Of course,
and then only I think it might just narrow down to the previous figures and the percentage. Maybe there's a difference about 2-3-5 percentage point. But I don't see we can read too much into it. I think what we need to look into is whether the developmental aspect which the Aam Aadmi Party has been talking about and the negative campaign of Goli Maro, of what Amit Shah, Anurag Thakur, Parvesh Kumar, where they have been almost inciting people and threatening them. There is a certain Shaheen Bagh kind of people who are going to enter your home and they're going to threaten your sisters and wives and other women in the house. So that vicious kind of, very toxic kind of environment which has been created, I think has a little bit of its own play on the electorate. But having said that, more and more people, I think, had already made up their mind that this is going to be more on the vikas and rest, more on performance and less on polarization kind of thing. And I think in a half an hour or so, you will throw your numbers. Probably that would be reflective in the numbers as well.